Okay, so we're looking at the next Torah portion. It's called Behar, on the mountain. It's coming from Leviticus chapter 25. It's a long chapter and it goes over to chapter 26, verse 2. We're not going to read that much, but we're going to try to read as much as possible and translate as much as possible today in a slightly different format. So we're starting with reading the first passage, and then we'll go back and we'll translate, but we'll go further translating as far as possible. So, וידבר אדוני אל משה בהר סיני לאמור. דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליכם, כי תבואו אל הארץ אשר אני נותן לכם, ושבתה הארץ שבת לאדוני. 6 שנים תזרע שדך, ו6 שנים תזמור כרמך ואספת את תבואתה. ובשנה השביעית שבת שבתות יהיה לארץ, שבת לאדוני. שדך לא תזרע וכרמך לא תזמור. את שפיה קצירך לא תקצור, ואת ענבי נזירך לא תבצור, שנת שבתון יהיה לארץ. והייתה שבת הארץ לכם לאוכלה, לך ולעבדך ולאמתך ולשכירך ולתושבך הגרים עמך, ולבהמתך ולחיה אשר בארצך תהיה כל תבואתה לאכול. This is the end of the first passage, and we'll just go back, translate it, and then go further because both passages are beautiful and there is just really no time to go further, but we want to do as much as possible. So, וידבר אדוני אל משה בהר סיני לאמור. And said, וידבר Adonai, the Lord God, El Moshe, to Moses, Behar, on the mountain Sinai of Sinai, לאמור. Well, saying, or we'll just go into what he said, דבר אל בני ישראל, speak to the sons of Israel, ואמרת עליכם, and tell them. Remember the little signs that we have here, the ta'amim, they're really helpful for accenting, for putting the stress onto the right syllable. So, ואמרת עליכם, and tell them, כי תבואו אל הארץ אשר אני נותן לכם. When תבואו, you all will come to the land which I am giving to you, אני נותן לכם, to you all, right? Second person. ושבתה הארץ שבת לאדוני, and then shall rest the earth, the land, in this case, Shabbat, the Sabbath, Ladonai, to the Lord, or Sabbath of the Lord, or Shabbat of the Lord. Now it's when I translate this literally, like word for word, it really sounds odd, right, in English, because we expect English to have this strict order, right, subject, verb, object, and in Hebrew, the order is really turned around. So usually the typical order that we expect to have is verb, subject, object, and it really happens mostly this way. Whenever it is out of this order and something else is put up front, or it's just in a different, it's always different order, it's it's being drawn attention to, it's emphasized in a different way. So we need to pay attention to the order, it's important. Here again we have the shavta and will rest. The verb is up front. Haaretz, who, subject, the land, Shabbat Ladonai. What? In what way? The rest to the Lord or of the Lord. 6 שנים תזרע שדך, ו6 שנים תזמור כרמך, ואספת את תבואתה. So 6 years תזרע, sow, שדך, your field, ו6 שנים, and 6 years תזמור כרמך, cut or prune the vineyard, your vineyard, כרמך, כרמך, your vineyard, ואספת, and gather at תבואתה, its harvest. ובשנה השביעית שבת שבתון יהיה לארץ. And on the year, the 7th, right, on the 7th year, Shabbat Shabbaton, the full rest. This is where we get twice same word, so it gets us this full complete rest. Yeh shall be la'aretz, for the land. If we turn it around and put it into the right proper English order, we'll say the land shall rest, and on the 7th year the land shall rest, shall have full complete rest, complete Shabbat. Shabbat l'Adonai, the rest to the Lord. Sadcha lo tizra v'charmecha lo tizmor. So your field you shall not sow, and your vineyard you shall not prune. Lo tizmor. Remember this lo tizra, lo tizmor, we have the negation, not just negation, this is a prohibition. We have two possibilities for biblical Hebrew to prohibit, and there are two ways of doing it. Once with law, another with al, and we know law is the same negation or prohibition structure that is used for the Decalogue, for the 10 commandments. So this means do not ever, do not do. Like it's an absolute prohibition. Do not sow, do not prune your vineyard and your field. Et ספיח קצירך לא תקצור, ואת ענבי נזירך לא תבצור, שנת שבתון יהיה לארץ. In the fifth verse, at sfiach, this is where we get something out of order. We do not get a verb up front and then subject object. We get the object right away, right? At sfiach. And this at is something we do not translate, but we understand this. At gives us the direct object right away. So the sfiach of your harvest, this is that the one that has grown on its own and is on in abundance, abundance there. We at sphere of your harvest, lo tiktzor, do not, and we have the same formula again, do not harvest, lo tiktzor, vet invei nizirecha, and here we can, and again we have the object up front, and the grapes of your uncut grape vines, lo tivtzor, do not collect, shnat shabbaton yeh la'aretz, the year of the full rest of Shabbaton, shnat Shabbaton, yeh, this shall be to your land, for your land. Now, I understand again it's out of order, but it's important. And here we get into this verse 5, where we get the most important thing right up front. Well, this and this shall not be done. And still the same prohibition. Et sfiach ketzircha ve'et invei nezirecha. And the one thing that we are so loving about the biblical Hebrew is, and just the biblical text, a lot of times are these patterns that we get. We have here two parallel clauses, let's say. Et sfiach tzircha ve'et envei nezirecha lo tiktzor lo tivtzor. And then after that we get the first big pause, break in this verse, and we get the reason. Now this is turned around. We've started with a very detailed information, but we get into this major conclusion in the end. Shnat Shabbaton yeh la'aretz. So the year of Shabbaton, of full rest, should this be for the land. Ve'haita Shabbat ha'aretz lachem le'ochla. And it shall be Shabbat ha'aretz, this Shabbat of the land, lachem, for you all, le'ochla, for eating, for food. Actually, ochla is a noun, it's not a verb, so for food. Lecha, for you, uleavdecha, for your servant, male servant, vela amatecha, and for your female servant, velischircha, and for your worker, ve'ule toshavcha, and for your foreigner, sojourner, stranger, hagerim imach, living with you, hagerim imach. Velivchemtecha, I love this word. Some words are just difficult, and this one has so much in it. It has ve up front and li for. Bechema is the actual word that we're looking for. This would be the lexical form. Bechema, and then it becomes bechemat, and then whenever it gets a pronominal suffix at the end, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 4 words here. So, and for your cattle, velivchemtecha, and remember again, the accent, the tamim give us the stress. Velivchemtecha, velachaya, and for your animals, asher be'artzecha, who are in your land. תהיה כל תבואתה לאכול. כל תבואתה, all its harvest. תהיה will be לאכול, for eating. So this is where the first subject, the first part, paragraph is over. We get a closed paragraph, we get a little blank space before the next starts, but it's still, even by the way the verb looks here, v'safarta lecha sheva shabtot shani, we see that this is still, it's really a small break, right? It's the next part, but of the same topic. So we get v'safarta lecha sheva shabtot shanim, and you shall count for yourself sheva shabtot shanim, 7 weeks of years. Sheva shanim, Sheva פעמים, 7 years, Sheva פעמים, 7 times. והיו לך ימי 7 שבתות השנים, and it will be to you a period, yimei, or days, or time of 7 שבתות שנים, 7 weeks of the years. What will it be? 9 ו-40 שנה. 49, Tesha 9, ו-40, and 40. We know this is the biblical order. We turn a biblical Hebrew order, so we turn it around 49 years. Again, we know that in biblical usage, whenever we get a number, it does not necessarily have a word description to this number in plural, right? We know it's years, would we say also in English this way, but in Hebrew it's shana in singular, and still it's showing us what it is about. So 49 years, obviously. והעברת שופר תרועה בחודש השביעי בעשור לחודש ביום הכיפורים תעבירו שופר בכל ארצכם. והעברת, and you shall dedicate, and you shall bring shofar teruah, or at this point, because we get shofar teruah, the sound of shofar, really want to say, and you will sound the sound of shofar. Maybe there is a better word, which I just don't have. B'chodesh hashvi'i, on the 7th month. Be'asor lachodesh, on the 10th of the month. B'yom ha'kippurim, on the day of Kippurim, on Yom Kippur, on the Day of Atonement. Ta'aviru shofar b'chol artzachem. Blessed. So, sound the sound of shofar. Sound the shofar b'chol artzachem, in all your land. V'kidashtem et shnat ch-50 shana, ukratem dror ba'aretz lechol yoshveya. יובל היא תהיה לכם, ושבתם איש אל אחוזתו ואיש אל משפחתו תשובו. So, let's start with here. תעבירו שופר בכל ארצכם. So, the sound shofar in all your lands, in all of your land. וקידשתם, and sanctify or separate את שנת ח-50 שנה, the year of the 50th year. Ukratem, and declare dror, release, liberty, freedom, release, be'aretz lechol yoshveha, to all that dwells in it, of its dwelling in it. Yovel hi, the year of Jubilee, תהיה לכם, it shall be to you all. ושבתם, and ושבתם איש אל אחוזתו, and you shall return, and you will return each אל אחוזתו to his property, ואיש אל משפחתו, and each to its family, to his family, תשובו. You all shall return. I'm trying to be as literal as possible, sticking to the words and translating in the very same way they are here in the text. Let's try to do a little bit more just to really get over the second passage. Yovel hi shnat chachamishim shana tiyeh lechem. This shall be the year of Jubilee. Yovel hi. Yovel is the year of Jubilee. Shnat, year chachamishim shana, of the 50th year, tiyeh shall be to you all, lachem, lo tizra'u velo tiktzeru, lo tizra'u velo tiktzeru, et sfiheha velo tivtzeru et nezireha. So, lo tizra'u, we get a lot of prohibitions there. Lo tizra'u, do not sow, velo tiktzeru, do not harvest, et sfiheha, it's grown on its own in abundance. Velo tivtzeru, and do not collect at nizireya, its uncut vine branches. Ki yovel hi, because it's ki yovel hi, because it's a year of Jubilee. Kodesh, kodesh tihye lachem. Holy shall it be for you, to you. Min hasadeh tochlu et tvuata. From the field you shall eat, tochlu et tvuata, its harvest. Again, something in this verse we get some somewhat different order, and we enjoy it. So mina sadeh, from the field, puts us right away. All this, not just something, but go get it from the field. And some of the translations even say that the idea is that it's directly from the field, because this min hasadeh is put on the very first spot. So see how important is this. Bishnat hayovel hazot tashuvu ish el achuzato. And now we get even, it's been said a couple of times now. It's translated, it's being repeated again in one separate verse. We get this one information. It's not return, do this, do that, do not eat. But here in this verse we get this main idea. Bishnat hayovel hazot, in this year of Jubilee, tashuv, return, each, being each, el achuzato, to his own property. Now remember, ish would be man, would be human, would be husband sometimes, but it also can be used as an adjective, and this is the way it's used as an adjective. Ish as an adjective, ish el achuzato, each to his own property. Let's look at least a couple more. V'chi תמכרו ממכר לעמיתך או קנו מיד עמיתך, אל תונו איש את אחיו. And if and when תמכרו, I would stick to if, because even though it's not critical, like both, it does not really mean it just means in case. So וכי תמכרו, and if you all will sell, mimkar is the selling, whatever it's being sold, but it's in the context of this achuzato, his property. So if we're talking about we're still talking about property. So and if you all will sell property la amitecha, to your neighbor, or kano, or buying miyad amitecha, from the hand of your neighbor, al tonu ish et achiv, do not deceive, al tonu, do not offend, ish, again, each, et achiv, his brother. במספר שנים אחר היובל תקנה, מאת עמיתך במספר שני תבואות ימכור לך. במספר according to the number of shanim achar hayovel, of the years after hayovel, after the jubilee, the year of jubilee, tikne, you shall buy me'et amitecha, from your neighbor, b'mispar shnei tevuot, according to the number of the years. This is, by the way, still shanim. Remember the patterns we get, and this is again the same thing. B'mispar, shanim achar hayovel, shnei tevuot. Then we get tikne, and then we get imkor. So, according to the number of the years of the harvest, imkor, he will sell lach, to you. He will say to you. Exactly. Here in number 14, I'm not sure what I said. So vehi timkeru, and if you all will sell, right? Okay. Okay, this is where we stop. Unfortunately, not enough time to look at everything, but it's a beautiful passage. And if you go down, I would really encourage you to go through verse 24 and look at verse 23, which is just beautiful. And I just want to look at it just once. והארץ לא תימכר לצמיתות. כי לי הארץ, כי גרים ותושבים אתם עמדי. ואז לא תימכר לצמיתות. So, and do not, again, לא תימכר. We just have so many prohibitions here. And this is the final one. And the land, again, big deal. You see the revia on top of haaretz. Revia, this diamond that we get on top of this word, can mean a number of things. One of the things that it can mean is that it shows the key word. And here we get to see that the land, lo timacher, do not sell, litzmitut, completely. Ki li haaretz, because mine is the land. Ki gerim, v'toshavim, and the ones who live, and the living ones, and dwelling ones, atem, you all, imadi, was me. Maybe I should do it slightly different in English. So, ki gerim, because live, and again, we start with a verb, right? Normal. How about we turn it around and say it in English the right way? So, and you all, gerim, are living, and are dwelling, v'toshavim, imadi, was me. This is where we stop. This is a beautiful end of the verse, and I wish you all a wonderful